I don't want to go too much into my past because I'm not there anymore, but past 5 years have been rough. I've been widowed twice. My first husband
You're not helping.
My first husband passed from cancer on our 21st anniversary. We were high school sweethearts.
We know.
So
we know.
I'll fast forward.
What we just want to say to you and to everyone, this is trending.
Okay.
If you're expressing this to speak the clarity and the balance that you found, that's one thing.
Yes, it is.
Well, then get there.
I am. Okay. Second husband passed away. So in all of this, it's catapulted me. My life got blown up, so to speak, what I thought it was going to be. So I've had to find myself in other ways, and I am. Now, the level of love I found with my second husband, I get hung up, and I have had times where I'm extremely angry with my inner being, my soul, whatever. Like, why? I know they had their own life, their own intentions, all of that. Why?
Who does?
My late husband. Everybody does, yeah. Right? Why did I have to have that cross my life twice? I mean, how did I didn't want to create that. I didn't want that.
Well, we said earlier that when things happen that you don't prefer, the usual response is, I don't believe in deliberate creation because I wouldn't have deliberately created that. I didn't want that.
Right.
And then we always say that we didn't say you did it on purpose, but we always say you did attract it. And sometimes it's because of an agreement that you've set into motion, which nobody wants to hear.
Yeah.
In other words, sometimes it's because of sloppy thinking. Sometimes it's because you're a seeker of clarity. In other words, there are lots of reasons for that, but there isn't anything that we could say to you that would be satisfying right here and now under these conditions. And the audience is really on your side about this. In other words, you say it and they go, oh. Yeah. In other words, and there are people croaking all over the place.
I know.
Is it a surprise? Esther sat with Oprah not too long after Jerry died. And Oprah said, how you doing? And Esther said, it really sucks. And Oprah said, well, Esther, didn't you know Jerry was going to die? Like sooner or later? Mm-hmm. And Esther said, no. No. I never let myself contemplate that. Mm-hmm. He felt invincible to me. And so it was a revolting development. And at that time she said, and I'm still not over it, and I don't plan to get over it anytime soon. She was trending in that heartache and everything. There were landmines everywhere. She didn't want to listen to music, and she didn't want to go to that restaurant, and she didn't want to see those friends because she was tripping over things that she wasn't stable enough to. But what she began to desire was stability more than anything else. She just wanted her stability. She wanted to feel that stable way that she felt when he was around. And then, as the conversations began to evolve with all of us, she began to realize that she had been calibrating and not even knowing it to Jerry more than she had to her own inner being. He was right there. He smiled when he was pleased. And there was nothing that she liked more than to please him. There was nothing that she liked more than to have fun with him. In other words, she factored him in 100% of the time. Well, that's nice. Jerry used to say to Esther, you do too much for too many people. And they say, that's all right. I'm not talking about me. And they would laugh. But Esther realized that she was dependent, sort of codependent. And it's easy to understand how you're like that. Really, in so many cases, is what people who are looking for relationships think they want. But when you think about the emotional scale, that emotional guidance scale that we talk about so much, when you think about it, so much of what you are yearning for is from the bottom half of the emotional scale. And sometimes when you have an experience that you didn't see coming and that you didn't want, but it came just the same. So now you're experiencing that end of the stick of, I really know what I do not want. It is creating a vortexual vibrational reality of what you do want. And in that is clarity and stability and the ability to be on earth without being dependent upon what anybody else does or thinks or wants from you. In other words, you're not free until you're free of that.
And I feel like that is exactly what I've gotten out of these past few years and these things that have happened with my 2 late husbands. I have gotten exactly that. And I feel like I'm even happier now that I'm...
Let's stop talking about late husbands. Okay. And let's start talking about things that move through your experience. You have every cat you ever had? Freddie and Tammy and Rusty and Midnight and Smokey and Cuddles and Tar Baby and Stubbs and Willie? No. Are your children, do they look like they looked in their pictures? Are your grandchildren, do they still look like those cute little kids? No, they're snarky and they're older and they're not the way they used to be. In other words, things do not stay the same, and things are not supposed to stay the same. And you all, as humans, we love you so much. You get set in ways, but it defies who you really are. You are evolving, changing, becoming eternally evolving beings. And so the very things that you knew would help you the most in that, you set in motion. They were in your vortex. And when they happen and you're shocked, it's because you weren't paying attention. And it doesn't matter, because you can pay attention now. You can cater to a world, and part of it exists right here in this room, who felt sorry about your 2 significant losses. They do. They feel sorry. But you don't want people to feel sorry.
No, I don't. In fact, I want
And so you want to tell a new story.
Right.
And you want to start in a new place. So what is it? You're getting to something really, really important here. Let's chew on this. This is a really important conversation for everyone in this room and everyone beyond it. So here you are. Here you are. You are where you are. You are where you are. Here you are. This moment in time. Now. Here you are right now. And in this now, you are positioned between whatever you can observe right now, whatever your comprehension about what now is, and the new and improved version that you've been working on even before you came into this physical body, and certainly all of the days of this physical life, and especially really recently. You've put a lot there. So you have options. But until the most important thing that is on your mind is, what is the path that feels the best? If we can convince you that your point of attraction is indicated to you by your mood, by your attitude, the feeling place of where you are. If you could leave this gathering decided that how you feel is the most important thing, and you would no longer try to explain why you feel how you feel. You would just establish in your own awareness how you do feel, and you would set out to improve it if it doesn't feel good and milk it if it does. If we could convince you that your point of attraction will fix everything, not just for you, but for everybody who loves you, for everyone who you influence, then you would stop telling stories of the past because they aren't relevant, except in that the past has brought you to where you are, but your power is not in the past. Your power is right here and now. And yet almost everybody tells stories of the past. And you know why? Because, and here it is, this is the big piece. Every one of you know that you're supposed to feel good. It was so powerful. When you decided to come to this body, you knew it, you knew it, you knew it. You know it so powerfully that when you don't feel good, stay with us. Something feels like it is terribly out of whack to you. And then most of you set out to justify why you're out of whack instead of get back into alignment. And you know why that is? Because you've had so many people calibrating to you, looking at you, asking you how you feel, trying to cheer you up, being dependent on how you feel, that most of you feel that you have an obligation to be a certain way for other people in the world. You're not calibrating to your own alignment, to your own inner being. You're calibrating to what you think they all need from you. You're never going to sort that out because they're nuts out there. There's a lot of them, and they want different things from you all the time, you see. And yet it feels selfish to you to just calibrate to what feels best to you. But as you start reaching for the thought that feels best about whatever is on your plate in front of you, and you accomplish an improvement in the feeling, what you're going to show yourself is that the universe is revolving around you, and that this feeling that something's gone wrong that you need to explain, that's going to lift up off of you, because you don't have to explain nothing to nobody, and even when you do, they're not going to understand. And so look how much of the world clusters together in their hurts and in their groups where they regurgitate the things that have gone wrong, holding themselves generationally in patterns of not feeling good all the time, wanting to feel better, looking everywhere for feeling better. All along, it's within your ability to focus here and now, but you got to practice. First, you got to know the rules. You got to know the laws of the universe. You got to accept that your inner being exists, and that's why you feel what you feel. And then you have to care more about feeling good than being right.
Well, I want to say to you that having gone through those things, stumbling upon some of your teachings have really helped me shift my focus. And I feel now better than I have in my life in a long, long time.
We like that. We like knowing that, but that's not where you started out with us today.
No, I just wanted to lay that.
Because it's not where you have been trending. In other words,
right.
Because the world, we're just going to be really blunt about this. The world doesn't want you to trend like that. The world doesn't seem to want you to be independent and joyful. Most of what's going around you needs you to be dependent on them. Because why else are you going to please them? Why else are you going to do what they want you to do? Why else are you going to go to work when you don't want to go to work? Why else are you going to do stuff that you don't want to do? In other words, you've been sort of hypnotized to believe that your well-being depends on other people's approval of you. And in a world that is only measured by stuff that you're gathering up, we don't disagree that you can collect bigger piles by working harder. We don't disagree that you can play the human game of really trying to be pleasing to other people, and if you please enough of them, that some reward will come back to you. But you all are talking about living happily ever after. You didn't come here for the spoils. You came here because you know that you are a creator. And a creator's got to create. Satisfaction comes from only one place: having the desire and moving in the direction of it. But if you're not consciously aware that you have the desire, how are you going to know when you're moving in the direction of it or not? You've got to put those things in place, you see. So from you, if we were standing in your physical shoes, the way we would be presenting ourselves, the magnificent way that you are presenting yourself, would be to say, I had some rough patches and didn't like it very much, but it brought me to clarity, which makes me understand the reason that I attracted that to begin with. Because things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me, even when they don't look like they're working out for me. How else are you going to find your feeling of worthiness and your expectation for things to go your way? And then you just do your best to connect the dots. Don't join groups where people want to mourn. Don't join groups where people want to complain. Don't join protest groups. Join advocates. Join the groups that are advocating for what they want, not the groups that are protesting against what they don't want. Because you've put it in your vortex. You put it there in incremental pieces. You don't even know all of the pieces that you've put there. And you can't even begin to imagine, as these cooperative components come together, the soup that you've made as a result of the life that you've lived. It is magnificent, and your inner being knows it. And your sadness, when you try to understand why that hurts so much, your sadness is not about why that hurts so much. Your sadness is about why I'm hurting so much now because I'm not letting myself be this. Every emotion is present tense. It's not about what happened 5 years ago. It's not about what happened 10 years ago. It's present tense. It's what you're trending now in relationship to what you told your inner being that you wanted, that your inner being is trending. Oh, let's say it that way. Your inner being is trending on your behalf toward all of the things that you want, and combinations of them that you can't even fathom until you get closer, and then you say, oh, that's an invention I was looking for, yeah.